Section 500 Overhead Services. 501 General. An overhead service consists of overhead secondary voltage service conductors from a CPS energy distribution pole to a customer-owned building or structure, or meter pole. CPS energy metering equipment will be installed at this location. 501 Aesthetic design areas. In areas where overhead service drops are prohibited for aesthetic reasons, CPS Energy will supply with overhead to underground service laterals or from pad mount transformers. 501 Overhead to underground conversion areas. Overhead services are not available in areas that have been converted from overhead primary distribution to underground primary distribution. Only underground services will be allowed in these areas. 501 Underground distribution areas. Overhead services are not available in underground distribution areas such as the South Texas Medical Center, Hemisphere Park, and other underground commercial developments. Only underground services will be allowed in these areas. 501 Downtown network system. Overhead services are not available in the area served by the downtown network system, which is generally in the San Antonio Central Business District. Only underground services will be allowed from the downtown network system. Customer may contact the CPS Energy customer service representative for the geographical boundaries of the downtown network system and to review service options from the downtown network system, refer to Section 1100. 502 Vertical clearances. Service drop conductors, including drip loops, shall comply with minimum clearance requirements of the NEC and NESC and with the specific provisions herein for services not exceeding 600 volts nominal, refer to Figure 501. 502 1 Above roofs. Where service, drop conductors must be installed above a building or structure's roof, the service, drop conductors shall be provided with the minimum vertical clearances shown in Figure 501. The vertical clearance above the roof shall be maintained for a distance of not less than 5 feet in all directions from the edge of the roof. Note: Customer shall coordinate with the CPS Energy customer service representative where temporary or permanent structures are to be constructed or placed under existing CPS Energy service, drop conductors. Customer will be responsible for costs associated with clearance poles if minimum requirements of Figure 501 are not maintained. 502 2 Above final grade. Service drop conductors and drip loops, where not in excess of 600 volts nominal, shall be installed in accordance with the minimum vertical clearances from final grade, or any other platform or standing surface, as shown in Figure 501. Note: Customer shall install service head 12 inches above the minimum height clearances required in Figure 501 to allow for proper connection of service drop conductors and forming of drip loop by CPS Energy. 502 3 Above swimming pools and similar. Swimming pools, hot tubs, spas, or any other recreational body of water shall not be placed under existing service, drop conductors, nor shall service drop conductors be installed above these types of installations without meeting the minimum vertical and horizontal clearances outlined by CPS Energy in Figure 508. 503 Clearances on buildings from final span of service drop conductors. Where permanent attachment of service drop conductors to a building is necessary for connection to customers' service entrance conductors, the final span of service drop conductors shall be installed to meet the following requirements over or along the installation to which the conductors are attached. 503 1 Windows, doors, porches, balconies, etc. Service drop conductors and drip loops shall have a horizontal clearance of not less than 5 feet from doors, porches, balconies, ladders, stairs, fire escapes, windows that are designed to be opened or other similar locations. 503 2 Platforms, projections, and similar surfaces. The vertical clearance of final spans of service drop conductors and drip loops above or within 5 feet measured horizontally from platforms, projections, or surfaces from which they might be reached shall be maintained in accordance with Article 502 3 and Figure 501. 503 3 Building openings. Service drop conductors or drip loops shall not be installed beneath openings through which materials may be moved, such as openings in farm and commercial buildings, and shall not be installed where they obstruct entrance to these building openings. 504 Length. The maximum length of unsupported service drop conductors is determined by CPS Energy based on the wire size, weight, sag, and tension on the anchor points. Service drop conductors greater than 1/0 AWG may require the use of one or more clearance poles for support. Demand load may limit service drop conductor length due to voltage drop limitations specified by CPS Energy, refer to Section 300. 505 Point of attachment. The point of attachment of service drop conductors to a building or other structure shall provide the minimum clearances as specified in Articles 502 and 503 and as shown in Figure 501. In no case shall this point of attachment be more than 30 feet nor less than 12 feet above finished grade unless otherwise approved by CPS Energy. Attachments to building walls shall be made such that the horizontal angle between the service drop conductors and the building wall shall be a minimum of 45 degrees. The point of attachment for the service drop conductors shall be so located as to be accessible from a ladder placed firmly on the ground and against the building. 505 1 Location. The point of attachment for the service drop conductors shall be located on the building service mast or other structure at the nearest practical point to CPS Energy supply pole. Exception. Clearance poles may be used to extend service drop conductor distances where approved and deemed necessary by the CPS Energy customer service representative. 505 2 Means of attachment. There are various types of hardware used to anchor the service drop conductors to the building or other structure depending on the type, size, and weight of the conductors. Typical anchoring options and related information are outlined in 1 through 4 below. 1. On service drops such as for residences and small commercial occupancies, a clamp-on type eye-bolt for service masts, or a screw-type eye-bolt for wood structures may be used. CPS Energy installs the anchor during the service drop installation. Customer shall furnish the anchors if the CPS Energy standard type anchor cannot be used. 2. On larger service drops, customer must furnish and install 5/8-inch galvanized all-thread machine bolts for installation in the building or structure during construction, especially for buildings of concrete, masonry, or brick construction. The machine bolts with galvanized washer and nut must be installed by the customer and protrude 2 inches outside the building wall. CPS Energy will install a clevis and insulator on these bolts when the service drop is installed. 3. Anchorage must be designed to withstand 750 pounds of load tension induced from the weight of the service drop conductors. Open, moused, service drops will require an anchor for each conductor. Cabled, bundled, service drops will require only one anchor. Customer must consult with the CPS Energy customer service representative to determine the type of service drop required, refer to Figures 506 and 507. 4. Where a building is not tall enough to provide anchorage to meet the required clearances, the service raceway may be extended vertically from the metering or service equipment and serve the dual purpose of enclosing the service entrance conductors and supporting the service drop conductors. CPS Energy will furnish and install a raceway clamp with eye-bolt to support the service drop conductors. Service raceways so installed shall meet the requirements for service masts outlined in Article 507 and shown in Figures 503 through 505. 506 Service raceway. The service raceway, S, containing the service entrance conductors shall be installed in a manner that will ensure proper clearances for the service drop conductors and drip loop in accordance with this section. 506 1 Location. Service raceways shall be installed on the outside of the building or structure and be continuous except for couplings. Couplings or fittings shall be listed and provide no access to unmetered conductors, refer to definition of listed. 506 2 Approved types. Service raceways enclosing service entrance conductors shall be galvanized rigid metal conduit, RMC, intermediate metal conduit, IMC, or electrical metallic tubing * EMT, type raceways. Exception 1. EMT is not permitted where used as a service mast. Exception 2. Bust risers are permitted where service entrance conductors exceed 3 conductors per phase, refer to Article 509(5). 506(3) Size. The size of service raceways shall be as specified by the NEC and other applicable codes but in no case be less than 1/4 inch. Exception number 1. Service raceways used as service masts shall be 2 inches, minimum, RMC or IMC. Exception number 2. On meter sockets, the size of the service raceway shall be the same size as the hub. On meter sockets with 1/4 inch hub that will be used with a service mast riser, the meter socket shall be upgraded to accommodate a 2-inch hub. 506 For number of conduits. The number of service raceways permitted to be connected to CPS energy-approved meter sockets and enclosures shall be in accordance with Table 1801 and Figure 1801. Each conduit shall have the same physical characteristics and contain one each of the ungrounded, phase, and neutral conductors. Where 3 conductors per phase are insufficient, a bus service head must be used, refer to Article 509(5). Note: paralleling of service entrance conductors in a single conduit is not permitted.